and get us started. Okay, first of all, thank you for everybody who's here attending tonight. We appreciate it. This is our fourth DELA in the series that we will have. Charlie, are we going to do these every month or as necessary?
Every month for now. We've got one in January and February so far set up.
Okay. So you know there'll be more coming. We will, or Charlie will put something out. We consistently have a couple of people who just can't make Sunday evenings. So he's going to look for a different maybe day and time to have these. So just be aware you'll get something here. I don't know when Charlie's ready.
Yeah, probably in the next week.
Okay.
And Matt just texted me. He'll be logging in shortly.
Perfect.
So.
Thank you, Commodore. Okay. The ground rules for tonight are you need to keep your mics off, keep your cameras on. If you need to ask a question, ask a question. We will have discussion times during the presentation tonight. You need to make sure you keep your discussion items relevant to what we're talking about, please. There's no reason to have this meeting drag on for things that we're really not here for. We'll be covering some broad topics that have and some tools that you will need to be aware of for operating your division meetings and your divisions overall. Some of this stuff will be new to you folks. Some of it's just going to be a refresher. So some of the introductions that we have that I'd like to make tonight is our Zoom coordinator, Commodore Harshfield. Oh my God.
Sorry, I had to, Rick.
I know.
I had to.
Our current Chief of Staff and Commodore-elect Charlie Geiger. Also, my co-presenter tonight, Norm Bundick. And of course, hopefully you all know me by now. My name is Rick Ebel. So what I would like to do right now is do a quick little roll call by division. And we'll go ahead and start with Division 1. Please go ahead and announce yourself.
Rod Donahue, District Captain, present.
Gary Peterson and Robert, are you both there?
Yes, Gary Peterson, Division Commander-elect, present.
Thank you.
And Robert Islas, Vice Division Commander-elect.
Thank you. Division 4. You're muted, Jim, but I can see that you were announcing yourself. Thank you. Let's see, Division 5, Dave Brown and Sal Gonzalez.
Yeah, Dave Brown, Division Commander-elect, Division 5.
Go ahead and unmute, Sal.
Good evening, Vice Commander, Division 5, Salvador Gonzalez, present. Thank you.
Thank you. Division 6 is not represented tonight. Division 7, Rudy Cortez.
Good evening, Rudy Cortez, Division 7, Division Commander-elect.
Thank you. Division 9.
Look, we have a vice in Division 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Robert Hammy.
Robert okay, I didn't see Robert was here. Hi, Robert. Okay, let's go to Division 9, David Walker and Willem.
David Walker, Division 9, Commander-elect. Wilbur Patty, Division 9, Vice Commander-elect.
Division 10 isn't here yet.
Oh, Rick, I'm here.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, Matt Smith here, current division commander and division commander-elect.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And Matt, can you turn your camera on, please? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Division 11 is not here tonight. Division 12, Maurice and Eddie.
Division 12, Maurice Scott, elect, Division Commander-elect. Well, hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Borgward, Vice Division Commander, Division 12. Thank you.
Also is here is our DCAP for LALB South.
Michael Bozo, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Good
And
evening.
also, I see you waving, Ann. I'll get to you. Also, LALB North, Mike Fiamingo.
Good evening, everyone.
And the wonderful Ann Chiaffi.
I was waving to Boz, but thank you very
Oh,
much.
yeah,
It's
likely
a
story.
pleasure to be here.
Okay, did I miss anybody?
Mike Folsom.
My apologies.
No problem.
My apologies.
I'm the auxiliary sector coordinator for Sector San Diego.
Thank you, Mike. It's very nice to meet you. Okay, anybody else that I might have missed? No? Okay. So anyway, at this time, I would like to turn it over to Charlie Geiger, our Commodore-elect. Charlie?
Thank you, Rick. I just have a few brief announcements before we begin our training. First of all, we plan to have our first board and staff meeting in mid-January, but I was waiting to see when we could first meet with the Admiral to hear about his plans and goals for the auxiliary. As it turns out, he's not available to meet until February the 1st. So our first board meeting is now scheduled for Saturday, February 6th at 1 p.m. And that meeting will be preceded earlier in the day at 10 a.m. with a district staff meeting. So save the date, February 6th, Saturday. We will have a district staff meeting in the morning and a district board meeting in the afternoon. Everybody got that? And there will be a reminder going out, but save the date on your calendar for now. Regarding D-Train, we will not have a D-Train at the end of March. The D-Train will either be postponed or canceled, all depending on what's going on with COVID. D11 North, I found out yesterday, has already canceled their D-Train. So hopefully we'll have something. An option might be to have some sort of awards banquet in September, along with the election meeting. Maybe we could even have that at the Crown Plaza in Ventura. So we'll discuss this further at the February meeting. By then, we'll have a much better idea of what we're up against with this COVID for the rest of the year. Our next DELA, DELA 5, will be virtual, and it is tentatively scheduled for Sunday, January 17th at 1800. I might try to pick a different date because Wayne Palmer and his vice, Sunday just doesn't work for them. So we don't want to have any particular member, any one member miss more than one of these DELAs. So I will get back to you hopefully in the next week or so with a firm date. Our next DELA, DELA number 5, Ann Chiaffi will be the presenter, and she will speak about managing change. Okay, you all have the strategic plan from the National Commodore. Please read it and read it again and try to align your goals with the guiding principles set out in the plan. Also review the 2019 gap analysis from the sectors. If you don't have that gap analysis available, you can get it from your DCAPs. But look at the gap analysis from both Sector San Diego and LA Long Beach and use that as part of the the guidance for developing your own goals for your division. The PAC area Commodore has asked all of the DCOs to hold off on our ops plan until April 1st, when we will have more information about COVID restrictions. So don't wait for my ops plan to come up with your own plans for your division. Once my ops plan is out, which should be sometime in March, you can make any adjustments if necessary, but that probably won't be necessary because my ops plan, like your plans for your division, is all going to be based on the strategic plan from National. On a side note, it was just reported that we lost an auxiliarist in D11 North to COVID. Their DSO finance passed away just a few days ago. Additionally, 6 other members in D11 North have also contracted COVID. So let this be a warning to take safety measures in everything we do, both in our personal lives and in the auxiliary. This thing is going to be around for a while, even if we get vaccines. So please take all the precautions. Any questions on any of the foregoing? Okay, I'll turn this back over to DSO member training, Mr. Evil.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, folks, so what we have next is a PowerPoint presentation by Norm Bundick on duties of the division commander. So Norm, I'll turn it over to you. Norm, you are muted.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. Slideshow. Okay, Charlie Geiger probably likes this picture because he just posted that on Facebook about 3 hours ago. Okay, the most dangerous phrase in human language is "we've always done it that way." Anybody heard that from their members? I think so. Now, what this is at the bottom is communication, commit, and change. And this is our new Commodore's watchwords. And notice, communication, commit, and change. We just went through probably the most drastic changing year that the auxiliary has ever seen, and we don't know what's going to be happening in the next year. So with that, let's go ahead with in mind that change is going to be happening. Okay, our main job, as we know, is auxiliary is recreational boating safety. My question to you as division commanders, and we'll see your 7007s later, did you fill in all of your RBSSO offices? And again, with qualified members. Okay, this is something Rick's going to cover a little bit later on in his area. Okay, general duties of the division commander. Every leader has a duty to be thoroughly familiar with all assigned responsibilities. This especially applies to the senior unit elected officer, the DCDR. Each leader must maintain close liaison with senior elected auxiliaries in units immediately higher and lower in the auxiliary organization. Additionally, each must ensure auxiliaries are trained and qualified in their assigned duties in the unit. Okay, with your responsibilities, you have a lot of resources. The auxiliary manual is your main reference to. That's the policy body of the auxiliary. In addition to that, there are national policies. When these come in, please keep a file on them. There's also going to be district policy changes. Keep a file on that. And if you don't remember where they are, this will be probably also posted, not probably, it will be posted on our district website under district policies. Now, division standing rules, this is strictly applying to your division. I hope you brought it with you because we'll be discussing this later. Then the big one, which I'm going to spend some time on tonight, is the Auxiliary Division Procedures Guide as a resource. In addition to that, your immediate past, we know, Commander, you can go to, as well as your DCAP. Okay, the DCR must be familiar with the auxiliary manual in order to answer procedural and member questions. And one of the easy ways to find something is just to use the find function in the PDF program. You can also Google some questions to get an answer. Your division standing rules are the very important reference source too. Okay, I hope everybody brought their division standing rules. Has anybody not brought them? So you've got them handy. Okay. Rick Ebel will go over division standing rules in his presentation, how to run a division meeting. But let's look at the duties in the procedures guide. I'm going to switch screens here for a minute because we're going to go to that. Hold on. Go to another screen. Okay, this is the foreword, which is page 3 of the Division Procedures Guide. I want to read paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. This publication is intended to provide guidance to division officers and make their transition to office easier and more effective. Officers should use this guide for answering the administrative and leadership questions related to management at the flotilla level of auxiliary organization. The contents should help you with, and this is the key, how do I, and how do I do it? Questions confronting the new division officer. Now, what's the difference between this and the auxiliary manual? This is not a policy reference. Policy is set by the auxiliary manual and related Coast Guard publications. Rather, it is more a job aid and collected experience of many auxiliary leaders and is intended to help you be effective and successful. Its size may seem overpowering, but remember, that's because it's intended to be big enough to serve as a handy reference guide for most occasions. This is the key to it. This is the collected experience of many auxiliary leaders throughout the years. There were 20 people that put this together. So some of the things may not be in your area, but you will find something and maybe an answer how to get something done. The flotilla operates as pure democracy, but the division is governed by representatives of the flotillas. The new division leader must learn how to lead through multiple layers of subordinates while effectively using opportunities to reach general membership. That's the purpose of this particular publication. Scrolling down into, when you look at the table of contents, okay, going down, it is very, very detailed. Item D, duties of the division commander, general, specific, preparing for succession, duties of the vice commander, the division staff, the VCDRs on this particular meeting. You need to look at this because you'll be training your staff. And this tells them what they should be doing it, how to do it. These are step-by-step ways to get things done. And one of the other more important things is if you go all the way down to Appendix A, these are the job descriptions that you will need for your appointment letters. And lo and behold, it gives you a sample of what your appointment letter should look like. So you can use this in the next couple of weeks, if you already haven't done it, to get your letters of appointment done. Here's the layout, and then it's alphabetical by the different jobs. Okay, duties of division staff officer. All you've got to do is copy this and put it into your letter. And it has a lot of other things too, like Robert Rules of Order for the auxiliary. Hold on a minute, let's find that. Oops, just missed it. Gives a nice little matrix, which I can't find. There it is. Oops. Well, anyways, there's a table in there. It just doesn't want to scroll. There it is. Okay, so this, if you print it out, it's really designed for us. If you didn't know how to use it, you might want to print this out. Anyways, that's the, let me go back to my presentation. Go back. Okay, so we went through that. One of the other duties you'll need to do is answer and reply emails, which we talked about before. But again, this is where communication comes in. That's one of the new Charlie Geiger's new watchwords in the very beginning, communication. We communicate through emails and now through Zoom, and you've got to be able to follow up on emails within 12 hours at a minimum. Put it on your phones so that even if you're not near a computer, you can then see something coming in. If you're not able to give a full response, please at least say, acknowledged, we'll get back to you, busy right now. Do something so people know that you received it. Okay, forwards from senior leadership must be CC'd to the leader following forwarding with your forwarded to the FCs. What that means is if your division commander sends something to you and you're going to send it to the flotilla commander, always FCC or do the CC back to the division commander, because the division commander is going to be doing the same thing to the DCAPs, and the DCAPs are going to be doing the same thing for the Commodore. The reason is we want to be sure that we get this information out. The only way we know that is if we see that something's happened. Don't blindly forward pass downs. Read the content. Does it all apply? Delete others' comments on strings before the main message. As an example, I sometimes get things and there's like 6 different messages and you don't know what the real message is, who sent it, and what it's about. In fact, in a FILA that was on last night, one of the participants brought that up about this. Like, why don't somebody check these things? Well, as a division commander, if you get a string like that, that's your job. And the flotilla commander, if he gets that type of string, he should be doing it. So it comes down to the member. The idea is don't just blindly follow things down. Does it apply? If it's something regarding vessel exams, it doesn't have to go to the full membership. Read the content. Division commanders must send in a DCO report, we know, as required, but you should only send it in on the DCAP form located on the district website. Now, for those that are already using it, you may know what that is. If you don't, talk to your division commander, your DCAP, to find out where it is and what's supposed to put in there. It's very self-explanatory. Division vice commanders must gather reports from the SOs and send summaries to the DCR for his or her report. Your DCAP will inform you of the frequencies. I don't think it's been out yet. The most important qualification for staff office are certifications, if required, and a passion or interest in the program. Has candidates shown prior interest in the program by entering hours? Review their AUX data program. Did you include your vice division commander in your appointments this year? Did you review your candidate's auxiliary experience? Make sure your flotilla commanders do the same. There has been in my experience as a division commander in a DCAP, seeing what other divisions have done, and this should not happen, that division commanders have appointed SO for programs that require certifications to people who are not certified. That can't happen. And in fact, that will be checked on your 7007s that you send in. In addition to that, the member has to have taken risk management. If you put in somebody on a 7007, and let's say it's vessel examiner, and you put them in for the SOVE, but they're either REYR or they aren't certified, they're not going to get in. Even if they're certified and non-REYR, if they didn't have their risk management, they will not get in. So rather than jam things into the DIROC's office with unqualified people that are going to get kicked back, make sure you're going to be doing this. Okay, this is a discussion time. Does everybody understand that? Anybody have any comments about that? Going once? Going twice? Sold.
Norm,
Yes.
I have a comment. I have a comment.
Yes.
Division commanders, just so you're all aware, your 7007s are going to be forwarded to me by DIROCs to review. So if some of your staff officers that need to have a qualification to serve in that office, in that staff office, if they haven't completed something that they need, like introduction to risk management or the risk management TCT, something like that, I'm gonna reject it and let you know you've got to find somebody else. Okay, so be proactive. Make sure your folks have that information and they have the qualifications that they're going to need. Thank you, Norm.
Yeah, and by the way, this is going to happen down to the flotilla level too. I mean, you'll be doing this with the SOs, but you have to be sure and make sure your flotilla commanders understand that they can't do that. All right? Okay, staff officers are appointed for 1 year and serve at the pleasure of the division commander. SOs may be removed from their position should the DCDR feel it is appropriate. I'm going to give you a quick story about people feeling they're obligated to keep people in a position when they're not doing the job. I was talking to a branch chief today, back and guy lives in New York. Doesn't make any difference where he lives though. But I was discussing about a program that they didn't use this year and why that was. And they said, well, because the person they had for the Pacific area out here wasn't doing the job. And I said, well, why didn't you remove him? He said, well, because he was appointed for the year. What? You're going to let a program go down because he can't do the job? So you let it go down? That doesn't make sense. How about from the division level? Anybody want to talk about that? How do you feel about appointing somebody and you find out it was a poor appointment? Will you pull the plug on him or get a better person or get him trained? Anybody?
Hey, this is Matt Smith from Division 10. I did that last year. Even with as little activity as we had, I changed out like probably about 3 or 4 positions.
Okay, good. Yeah. And it's necessary to do. If you really want your division to go, you really have to get involved in that. How about anybody else?
Go ahead, Maurice.
I was just going to say that I'm going to have an interview process with most of the people. And if I can determine that in that interview process that they may not be able to do it, or maybe not have the time or whatever, I may not put them on the list or get ready to replace them once I put them up on the 7007. So after I interview them, if I find out that they may not be up to it because they said they wanted to do it, I'll make that determination and I might not even select them.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it, Maurice. How about anybody else want to comment on that? I know over the years I have heard, well, I don't want to do that. You know, he's a good friend. I don't want to do that. You know, as a division commander, you're responsible for the division. Friendship is good, but we do have a job to do, and you have to be sure you have somebody in there that you can count on. Okay. Next, the appointment of and delegation of duties to each staff officer must be in writing. And as I showed you on the division guide, Appendix A has all of that information for you. Programs which require, we talked about, that require certain current certification and risk management must be verified before making an appointment. These two requirements cannot be waived. I've always heard, oh God, we can waive that. These are two that can't be waived. If you cannot appoint a non-certified person as a officer, the reason is, if you do that, let's assume it slips by. Let's say you appointed an FSO or an SOVE. Well, that person is supposed to be training the FSOVEs. Well, let's assume you're out doing something, the SO and the FSO are together, and something goes wrong. If somebody gets hurt, property damage, you, division commander, will be responsible for any problems because you appointed a person who is not qualified, and the major requirement to have protection is required and able to do the job. Because that SO wasn't certified, he is not a supervisor. You have to be sure, because there are repercussions on this for you as a division commander. That also, by the way, goes down the line to flotilla commanders. Okay, when lack of qualified personnel or candidates prevents the filling of all division staff offices, the division commander is responsible for performing the staff duties of those staff positions that cannot be filled. Anybody want to give me a reason why this is? What we're saying here is, if you as a division commander can't fill your ops, you can't fill diversity, you can't fill MA, that's your job now. Any comments?
Yeah, Norm, we need to talk about MA and FN here.
Yeah, that's different, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but still the point is, yeah, they can't, because those two can't be done by the elected officer. But let's say it's VE, let's say it's ops and maybe PV. Does everybody understand why it goes on to the division commander's plate?
Buck stops with you.
Exactly. Well said, Rod. That's why you make the big bucks.
Maurice has a question.
Yes.
That's excluding the FN and the materials position, correct, sir?
That's correct, because you can't be that.
And the other question I had was that we're allowed to keep a file on the progress and information about the staff officers we appoint. Say, for instance, we have to remove them. Are we allowed to keep files in our own records for our, so the next person that comes up as division commander, they would know not to pick that person or talk to them and ask them questions about their previous appointment from the past?
Well, the one thing I found is very few, I have never had anything passed down to me like that. I don't know if let's open it up to discussion. Have you that have been division commanders received things back or anything from your previous one, keeping like files on members? Anybody?
Norm, we keep files on if there's been corrective action taken.
Right. But I'm talking about basically if they're not performing a job and you're going to move them out of that position.
Well, if they're not performing the job, they're removed from the position. We don't let them stay on.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, Maurice, anything that a person is not doing or acceptably or whatever it may be, you always note it to yourself either by an email and also one to that individual to let them know. And you keep that because it's not necessarily for the person that is being turned over to. It is for you in case someone complains. And you do have a, a file, not a file, but a emails chronologizing the problems and what corrective action was taken and not done. But we're getting, that's kind of deep here, but anyways, that's something that you can do, but not necessarily a file. An email would be suffice, and keep it under that person's name on your computer.
Norm, this is Jim. I have a question.
Yes.
The first one is that the flotilla commander is not required to fill all possible FSO positions.
That is correct.
You can waive that. So you're saying that the division commander can't do that. He's required to have all those?
No. If you absolutely do not, and this flows right down to the flotilla. Let's start at the division. Let's say you don't have an FSO, let's say you don't have an SOVE. Okay, well, let's assume somebody wants to do it, but they're not a VE or they're not certified. Okay, they can't be put in there because they don't even know the program. That means the information that is sent down from the DSOVE has to go to somebody to pass down to the existing VEs. And if there is no SO, the division commander becomes the contact for the DSO to pass information down. You see the difference on that? And that's the same thing the flotilla commander does. If they don't have a FSOVE, because nobody wants to do it, but they do have 2 or 3 VEs, okay, the flotilla commander becomes on that list for the DSO VE to send information to. We have to get information down into the deck plate. So somebody has to be responsible for it. And as Rod eloquently said, the buck stops with you, as well as the flotilla commander. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the clarification. I've got a second question.
Sure.
In a previous slide, I talked about that the people you appoint must be current and they must have the risk management if it's required for what their specialty is. The question I have is that we're living in very unusual times right now, and we're likely to have a lot of people who suddenly have lost it because they're REYR, REWK. My question is, if they still have the background, the expertise, does that mean we cannot appoint them?
Well, here's the issue. Right now, as far as I know, the National Commodore has said that nobody will go REYR unless you have the opportunity to keep your certification. As an example, under both phase 1 and phase 2, let's say you're a VE and you need to get your 5 for the year. Okay, let's say you did 2 of them in the first 2 months of the year, so you were lacking 3. Well, as of what, it was June, phase 1 came out that said, if you send in your risk management, your report, the risk assessment form, and apply for assignment to duty through the OTO, you can go out and do a VE. So the caveat is VE, PV, NS, and I think those are the only 3, that those 3 people or groups will go REYR, even though everybody else will not, because they had the opportunity to do it. Do you understand what that is? Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. That also goes, by the way, for boat crew and everything else. They will have a way to make sure that this is taken care of. As far as I know, and the Commodore is on the line, that is not going to be an REYR situation. Either one of the Commodores wants to comment on that?
Yeah, let me correct you on that. You hear me, Norm?
Yes.
Okay. the mandatory things like online, like risk management, your OxNav and that are the only things that are the restrictions on going REYR. So even though we were in phase 1, you're still not going to go into REYR until 2021.
Okay, is that
the mandated things that you have to take are the risk management. You have to take your NAV rules if they come up. Anything that you can take online to complete a task, you have to do. But as far as your number of VEs, you're going to stay out of REYR until 2021.
okay? Even though you could have done them.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Because phase 1 only affected us. So, and that's a national policy.
Ah, okay. All right. That's
So-
why I've asked the question, because
Right.
it's always good to defer to the power and the knowledge.
Norm, yeah, to simplify that, the bottom line is the reason for being REYR is whether or not it's COVID related. There's no excuse for not taking risk management, intro to risk management. But if it's something that because of COVID, you couldn't get out of REYR, we're gonna look the other way for that. You will
Right.
not be, not be punished.
I wasn't even discussing those because I knew that was going to be happening. I was only specifically talking about the 3 RBS things. Okay, onward. We already did that, I think. Okay, each division commander is to report to the district captains, who in turn report to the Commodore. Each DCAP has served as a DCDR and can offer value advice when problems arise. Remember, they are your resources. And they will help you do this. You're going to have to keep all your disputes, problems at the lowest level, flotilla or division. Try to keep it at the lowest level, okay? I think we've talked about that several times in some of the other DELAs. The VCDR assists the division commander in leading and managing the division as a team. The vice division commander should act as another set of eyes and ears, alert for both things going well and not going so well. In addition, keeping the division commander informed on the pulse of the flotillas. He can accomplish this by sitting in on electronic meetings to hear the FSO reports during the COVID. And the division commander could sit in too. This is the only opportunity where we really have the opportunity to sit in on meetings without having to travel, get dressed. It's a good way to keep a tab on what's going on within your division. And also the vice acts and places division commander when required or requested. Okay, the vice also is alert for problems and budding opportunities and take appropriate and timely action. The vice also coaches staff officers when appropriate and assists them in developing auxiliary programs to the fullest extent possible. Assists the staff in overcoming obstacles and securing the necessary resources to accomplish missions. Remember, read the section in your division procedures guide on staff. Collect and review monthly reports from division staff officers, consolidate, summarize, and submit the reports to the division commander in a timely manner. Assist in the training and orientation of newly appointed division staff officers in the duties, which is in Chapter 1, Section F, page 115 through 118. Watch for notable accomplishments by staff officers and keep the division commander informed. Carry out authorized programs in accordance with existing policies and ensure acceptable performance standards are maintained. This may be difficult during COVID-19 phase directives, but planning and doing what is authorized can be reviewed, and we do have some things we can do. This is the end. Any questions, comments, complaints? Everyone take a break?
Pretty quiet group.
Yep. Anybody need a break? The end.
All right. Norm, let's go ahead and give them 5 minutes here, and we'll make it a quick 5. Come on back at 18:50. Thank you.
Charlie,
Yes, Ann?
I'd like to know before this meeting is over, if we could find out by show of hands among our division commanders, how many people did take LAMS or AMLOC? Boz and I are thinking about doing some things, and I just would like to know who needs them. I know Rick has a couple of, Bob does, I know. I got you on the list, Robert. In terms of our planning for the upcoming year and my role in that.
Yeah, we can do that. Rick, could you do that before you adjourn?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that information is available from the IS people as well. They can print you a list of everybody that's taken AB or OXLAMs or AMLOC.
You would assume so, Charlie. You would
Yeah, I
assume
know, I know.
I can run it down that way, but I thought it might be interesting here tonight. If
Yeah,
that's
this would be good, although there is a few people that are missing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And
Sure.
you want to know who did take land?
I'd like to know who did take it.
Okay.
I know some of them that are here. I think Jim was too busy under the water doing something.
Yeah. I'll ask that question before we conclude tonight.
Thank you so much.
Anything for you, dear.
Oh, you have to be quiet about this, Rick.
Oh, the dear, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Bye, sweetheart.
Oh, you guys. Ann, how you feeling today?
By the end of the day, I can move around better, but I'm tired. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, Eddie looked a little better. He said he was feeling better.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he looked like he had some color in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have seen him last night. That was terrible. Oh my.
I saw him a couple of weeks ago. He looked not good at all.
White as a sheet. Go ahead.
I have to tell you, Maurice and Eddie, well, Maurice primarily because Eddie was sick, given all the problems going on and everything else and his business and new clients and his employees getting stabbed, holy cow. I mean, the man did unbelievable amount of work.
For the FILA.
Yes.
I was impressed. I was impressed. It takes a lot to do that.
I know. By the way, Ann, I forgot to tell you too. That's why you do lambs. You are so good. You just, people want to listen to you.
Well, thank you, Norm. Thank you very much.
All right, is that the end of the mutual admiration hour?
Well, who else out of here needs more admiration?
Oh, she's also a nice lady, so that's the way I think about her.
Thank you.
You got a minute left, Norm, so.
A minute left for what? Oh, okay.
Who else do
I admire? Okay.
While Norm's thinking, Rick, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Will you be forwarding the recording out to the group here, or since I got a couple of guys that couldn't make it, you want to send it to me and I'll forward it on? How do you want to handle that?
I will talk to, oh, there he is, Commodore Harshfield. How are we going to do that?
I'll send the link out.
Okay.
It's a link on YouTube. So
yeah.
When I get done here tonight, I have to upload it to YouTube, but I'll upload it and just send you the link and you can get it from there.
You're going to send that to everybody, sir?
No, I'll send it to you. Then that way, everybody that needs to get it will get it.
I see.
That's called delegation of authority.
That's
right.
exactly
It's not how
what
much,
that is.
I remember my mother told me it's not how much you do, it's how you delegate authority. So there you go.
Okay, looks like almost everybody's back. All right, we will go ahead and start up with running a good division meeting. So I'm going to share my screen now. Hang on here, folks. There we go. Okay, can everybody see the screen? See my desktop?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Copy.
All right, I'll go ahead and get going here. This presentation can also be used for the flotilla level also. So keep that in mind. If you want to share this with your flotillas, by all means, I will send this to you and you can do that. And you can edit it any way you like. Okay. First thing about your division meetings is, first of all, you need to have a plan. And what's your division's plan for the year? That's something you want to include. Also, and this is before you start having your meetings, so at your first meeting, you can share that plan with your flotilla commanders. Also, your calendar. You need to develop your calendar. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who sent me your calendars. I reviewed them. They look good. But here are some of the things that you can also include on your calendar. Of course, you can include your meetings, all your meeting dates. You get that on your calendar, get it to your flotilla commanders in advance, and there should be no excuse for them to say, I didn't know about the meeting. If you send them the calendar, they know. Division events, fourth cornerstone events, maybe some public education events, VE, PA, PV events. Get them on your calendar, get them posted on your division website, and you can even ask to have them posted onto the district calendar. The district calendar is there for everybody. Your division calendar is there for your FCs. It's there for us to look at it too. And again, this is something that your flotillas, your FCs should be doing for the flotillas to keep their members informed and know what's coming up. Okay, let's talk about,
Rick?
yes,
Rick?
sir.
On the district website, under forms, is a calendar request form. Anything you want put on the district website, you must go there, fill it out. It's pretty detailed. If I don't have enough information, I'll get back to you, but that's how things are going to get put on the district website. So right now it's pretty much empty. So
okay,
it's not CS's department to find the stuff. You got to send it to us, which I'll be the DSO CS next year, and I will get it up within 24 hours. So
all right, thank you, Commodore. So just be aware of that, commanders. Nobody's going to ask you for it. If you want it on the district website, you must submit it via the form that the Commodore just mentioned. So let's talk about agendas here for a minute. Ground rules, meeting ground rules. I started putting my meeting ground rules on my agendas, my division agendas, and you can also have your flotilla commanders do this on their flotilla meetings. Ground rules will help you keep your meeting moving forward. It lets people know what acceptable behavior is. It lets people know who the meeting is for, although it's for the division, but your division meetings are business meetings. okay? Your flotilla commanders are your board. Your staff officers will be asked to be there to give reports. The rest of your division members are always invited to come to a division meeting, but they need to sit there and be quiet, listen to what's going on in the meeting, not interrupt. And if they are going to be given an opportunity to ask questions, then you as the division commander will give them that opportunity. If they raise their hand, and I did this a few times, people think it's rude, you just ignore them and move on. If they have questions or things to say, that's what their flotilla meeting is for. So anyway, those ground rules will help you work with your flotilla commanders and your audience. The other thing it'll also help do is let the people know that you're there to deal with the business of the division. You're going to work on the problems, not the people, because the people are just there to communicate what's going on and help you run your division. Any questions about ground rules? If you want to see an example of some ground rules that I have used in the past, shoot me an email later and I will send you a copy of an agenda that I have used with my ground rules on it. Pretty short, pretty simple. And I was having division meetings that lasted an hour or less. Uniform. You always want to have on your agenda that, by the way, should be out at least a week before your meeting. But put on there what uniform you'd like your board members to be wearing. Most of the time it's TROPs. Some divisions will meet in ODUs, and some will allow both, along with appropriate civilian attire. So let people know what the uniform is. You can have your division plan and calendar on there if you want to have that discussion. You want to take attendance. You want to know what your quorum is. So make sure you have that on your agenda. You want to have things on your agenda that are interesting to your members. And besides the flotilla commanders, but also any members that might be in the audience, you want them to continue to come back. It's nice to see the members of your division at your division meeting. But so if you have something interesting on there, like maybe a guest speaker that's gonna talk for 15 minutes, about an interesting subject, and it doesn't even have to be about the auxiliary. It could be something about some other emergency group, RACES, something like that. You might want to think about having member training on your agenda. Member training's always a good thing to do. Just remember, don't run your member training more than, I would say, an hour. Otherwise, you're not going to get a lot of participation. You want to talk about member retention on your agenda. Have that on there, especially if you're having flotillas that are having issues with their membership numbers. Something you also may want to have on there is fellowship. I know there are some divisions that like to take a break in the middle. They'll have some coffee, some cookies, cake, Some will even bring pizza and have about a 15, 20-minute fellowship time in the middle of their meeting. I know of some flotillas that actually do a dinner before their meeting, 30 minutes prior, something quick and easy. So those are some agenda items. Some other things you want to make sure you have on your agenda, obviously the Pledge of Allegiance. We all know that. If you're asking to have your members wear a uniform, do a peer review. I know at the district meetings, when we were meeting in person, we were doing peer review of uniforms. If you have guests at your meetings, you especially if it's members or guests from the district bridge, you want to introduce them at the beginning of your meeting, right after your Pledge of Allegiance, and maybe even the peer review of uniforms. Introduce the most senior auxiliary officer first. So if the Commodore was there, you'd introduce the Commodore, then the Chief of Staff if they were there, and then the DCAP if they were there. You want to give each of them an opportunity to say a few words, emphasis on few. They may pass along some district information, but if you have somebody from outside the auxiliary, you can introduce them after you introduce the officers. On your agenda, you want to approve your minutes from your last meeting. If you can, you need to get your minutes out within a week after your last meeting while things are still fresh in everybody's mind. So they can go back and look at those minutes and say, no, that's not quite right. That's not what's said. And then those corrections can be sent to your SOSR, who can make those corrections. And then you can approve your minutes at your meeting. Awards. It's always good to recognize flotillas, flotilla members, flotilla commanders at your meetings. If somebody's getting a really nice special award, invite them to the meeting and present them with that award in front of the members from the division that are there. Being recognized for something that you do that's how we get paid, folks. So let's pay our people. On your reports, I would suggest that if you have staff officers that submit a written report, when it comes to that report, you ask them if they have anything in addition to add. Let them speak about it. Let them be brief. Remind them, please be brief. If they didn't submit a written report and they are in attendance and you want them to talk about their area, just remind them, let them be brief. If they start rambling, you need to cut them off. Of course, you have old business and new business. And I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to go over on that. You all know what that is. Again, member training, keep it interesting and meaningful. You want to set the day and time for your next meeting. If you've done your calendar, you already know when it's going to be, but it's always good to have it in your meeting minutes for the next meeting that shows when you set that next meeting. And then you'll want to adjourn your meeting. Any questions so far?
Rick, one thing I'd like to add, and that is when we're introducing guests, some of the divisions now are having guest senior leadership from the gold side, as well as some of the flotillas have a liaison if their flotilla meetings are near a Coast Guard station. And we need to make sure we acknowledge those people and also give them an opportunity to say a few words.
Absolutely. Thank you for that reminder, Mike. So yes, folks, as you know, and if maybe you don't know, we've had, I believe, 2 division meetings now where the active duty folks have been in attendance, at least one. Oh gosh, Commander, I believe Noggle was at a Division 7 meeting. Is that correct, Mike? And then at a Division 5, Boz, you had
Yeah, we had Captain Orr, Captain Bernstein, and
Yes.
Commander Noggle in attendance. And I think all 3 of them attended Division 6 as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So folks, they're going to show up, and you will probably get very short notice on that, like maybe a few days in advance. And not all of you are going to get the sector captain or captains, I should say. My guess is Commander Noggle will be attending most of your division meetings at least once. They're really trying to make an effort to recognize what we do and thank us for what we do. So make sure you give them the proper introductions and allow them to speak first, because they don't want to sit through your whole meeting. They don't have time to do that. So both Mikes, do you have anything else to add about the active duty side and your meetings, your division meetings?
Yeah, I'll just offer up a comment for the division commanders that haven't had active duty in their presence or meetings. Extremely non-threatening. These folks were just very, very gracious, very complimentary. And to your point, Rick, just wanted to personally deliver the message how much they appreciate us and our patience, and looking forward to working together when we can. And just exude a very auxiliary friendly demeanor. So all 3 of them were just a pleasure to have on board that night. And they spent about 15 minutes with us and they answered our questions that we sent ahead of time. They took live questions as well, and then bugged out. So we got our meeting going. So it was delightful. I know that they'll be back.
That's great. That's great feedback, Mike. Thank you very much.
Typically, Rick, if somebody from the goal side, at least in Sector LA, is going to attend a division meeting, you as a division commander should hear about that from John Ross, the ASC. He will be the interface for that. And he will also be asking you if your members have any questions for the goal side, to send those questions in advance so they can prepare for that.
Thank you, Charlie.
I got a question, Rick, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, going back to rules, I got 2 questions actually. On rules and Zoom meetings, has the district come out with any guidance on Zoom meetings as far as people have to have their cameras on and have their titles? Or can we just make that a rule in our meetings to say, hey, this has to happen?
You know what, Maurice? I haven't seen anything in any district policy that says that. Like for this evening's meeting, my email that was sent out gave the guidelines on what uniform we were to wear, that we were going to be on a Zoom meeting, and the link would be sent to them, that they need to have their cameras on. Everybody does. And they need to have their mics muted unless they have a question or they're called upon to answer a question. So as the division commander, right now, that's your choice. Yes, Commodore, I see you. Hold on. When you send your notice out to your folks with the link, by all means, let them know that.
Okay.
Commodore?
Thank you, sir.
There is no written policy on procedures for Zoom meetings, simply because you have bandwidth issues. The aux data course we had last week, I had 80 people on the call, so I had to have everybody turn their cameras off. If you get to a meeting where you got 70, 80 people, have them turn the cameras off. Otherwise, you'll never get through the meeting. It's more of a courtesy thing, though, but there is no policy. When you do get to go to the sector all-hand meetings, they ask you to turn them off, and that's basically the reason is for bandwidth.
Wow.
But for a group like this, you get 25 people, 30 people, turn the cameras on if you want the fellowship. If you start having issues, then tell people to turn off your cameras so that you can continue with your meeting.
Yeah, one word that we do not use in the auxiliary is mandatory. Remember the mandatory training? Well, that didn't work so well. So you can strongly encourage people to turn their cameras on or turn their cameras off. But don't use the word mandatory or required, because that's going to backfire on you.
The only thing you can make an auxiliarist do is quit, and that's it.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
So anyway, carry on.
Okay, Maurice, so I'm hoping we answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Rick,
Yes, ma'am.
this issue about recording, I do see that we are being recorded, but was
Yes.
that announced at the beginning of the meeting?
It
come
was.
from the background of film and television and being married to an actor for 60 years. You cannot record those people without their permission. And it seems only a courtesy to me that it is mentioned before the camera's turned on. So how do we all stand with that?
Generally speaking, and I turned it off early because Norm and Rick were playing with screen sharing. I have a title slide that comes on that informs you that the meeting is going to be recorded. And when I hit the record button, it's very obvious because I do it late, so I have to stop what I'm doing, but it's announced. And that's one thing you need to do, is tell people that you are recording the meeting. Your option is, if they don't like it, they can go away. Kind of, majority, if you need to record it, you have to tell everybody. And if they don't like it, they have the option of either staying on or leaving. So.
And my suggestion on that would also be, when you send out your agenda, put it in your agenda that says this meeting will be recorded. And then remind them again when they're at the meeting.
Yeah.
So I believe that will take care of the concern that you have, correct?
Yes.
And that covers the legal part too, right, Rod?
Well, it depends. It depends upon the state. California, it is essentially the reasonable expectation of privacy. But yeah, the better practice is to do exactly what Ann said and what everybody said.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's talk about attendance and quorum here real quick. You need to know your quorum requirements. Most flotillas, it's 25% of the membership. Now, there are some flotillas that have gotten a waiver to have that number lowered to 20%. I'm not aware of anybody who's lower than that, but that's for a flotilla. For a division, and this is stated in your standing rules, at the division level, it's 50% plus one. So basically, it's a simple majority of your entire board. And I showed what your board should look like right there: division commander, vice division commander, immediate past, and your flotilla commanders. Again, with fellowship, one of the really nice things about fellowship We all like to eat. We like food. So if you're going to do some fellowship, you know, bring some cookies, something simple. Carrots for those people who don't want to eat cookies. You know your meeting time and location. Let the folks know what time, where it's going to be, when we can start meeting in person again. And we don't know when that's going to be. So, but do this in such a fashion that maybe you can maximize your attendance. Of course, really at the division level, all you need is your board. You don't need to have staff officers there. You don't need to have other members there. It's great to have them there. When I was a division commander in both Division 5 and Division 4, it's nice to see people other than the board at the meeting. I mean, it shows that people are interested and they want to know what's going on. And then when on your meetings, you want to start and end on time. When you're sitting around waiting for people to get there, especially if you are waiting for members of your board so you can have a quorum, that's not a good thing. If you say you're going to end at 8 o'clock, end at 8 o'clock or before if you can. Any questions about attendance quorum? Member interest, you don't want to make sure your meetings are productive. Don't spend a lot of time talking about things over and over and over again. As a division commander, know when to shut people off. If you need to vote on it, get it going in that direction. If it's just a discussion that's happening just to happen, cut it off. Get your members to wear uniforms. Everybody likes, or most everybody likes to wear their uniform. Again, have food at your meetings. Some examples, dinner before, snacks, break, coffee, soda. Meaningful planning. You want to talk about changes of watch, patrols, what you're going to do for fellowship outside of the meeting. And again, these are all things that we can't do right now, with the exception of patrols if you have created a bubble. Bottom line here, if your meetings aren't interesting, your folks are going to stop coming. And sometimes even your board members will stop coming. Again, you should have some sort of member training if you can. It's more important at the flotilla level than it is at the division level, but if you can have some at the division level, that's always good. As you can see, this is an older PowerPoint because we're talking about filling out 7029s and 7030s, and we're into Ox Data 2 now, so it's done differently for those who do Ox Data 2. Member training in the areas of leadership are always good. Operations, same thing. Whether it's surface ops, radio ops, those kind of things, people like to do that. Member training in uniforms. Hey, not everybody knows how to wear their trops or how to wear their ODUs, or even where to get them. So that would be good member training. Again, this is at the flotilla level for the most part. You want to keep your member training to no more than about an hour or less if possible. If you do it at the division level, if you think you can do an hour and people will stay, that's great. But keep it for less if you can. Keep it interesting. If it's interesting, they will continue to come to your meetings. And bottom line, don't bore the members. If you bore them, they won't come to your meetings. Let's see. You want to encourage C-School attendance. Right now, C-School isn't available. There are some online, I see you shaking your finger, Ann. There are some online C-School leadership courses that are available. So, you know, be aware you can encourage those. Again, leadership is always good. Online testing. The online testing that we have is great. There are a lot of tests that we can take that are non-proctored. Like the BQC2, that's not necessarily testing, but it's training. Core training, the same way. You have ICS 100, 200, 700, 800. Plus there's other ICS courses that our members can take online. You don't have to do it at a meeting, but just make them aware of that. And some of the online testing right now that is not being proctored is OXOP. And this is a great opportunity for our members to complete any OXOP courses that they need to gain their OXOP qualification. Member retention, this is a big thing right now. We're trying to make sure we keep as many members as we can. I know during 2020, that was thought that we would lose 20–25% of our members. Fortunately for D11 South, that's not the case. It's been half of that. You want to make sure you have members. So if you have mentors, I mean, for the new members. So if this is something that you want to put together at the division level to help members out, do it. Again, you want to talk to your flotilla commanders about core training, and this should all be done. A lot of this stuff should be done through the SOs. Okay, not necessarily the division commander, but know when to use your SOs to get this message out. We talk about uniform selection. Again, a lot of members don't know how to do this. Talk to them about qualifications, what they need to do certain things, crew, TCO, coxswain, Oxair. One of the popular things is vessel exams. To be an instructor, it's not difficult for our members to become instructors. So talk to them about that. Again, we want to recognize our folks for achievements. So do this at a division meeting. They'll want to be there. You want to get your folks involved, okay, to retain those members. Get them into PA. PA is a great place, a great vehicle to get people involved. And we need to remember that we must train to retain our new members. Okay. Any questions? I know this is review for a lot of you folks, so bear with me. Guest speakers, they're good to have. Don't be afraid to invite your Commodore, Chief of Staff, DCAP to your meetings. Just make sure they aren't long-winded. Again, make sure your guest speaker is interesting and don't give them too much time. If it's a guest speaker from outside the auxiliary, I know it says here no more than 30 minutes. I would keep it to 15 if you can. People start getting bored after about 15 minutes. Fellowship, again, fellowship can take place at our meetings, outside of our meetings, and you can make it an enjoyable learning experience even at a fellowship gathering. Like, you know, a fellowship to the USS Iowa, or to the Point Fermin Lighthouse, or even to a place called the Flight Deck. It's here in Anaheim, and you get to fly jet simulators. It may not have a lot to do with the auxiliary, but it's a nice fellowship activity, and people have a lot of fun doing it. So make it enjoyable, make it a nice learning experience if you can. All right, that's all I have. If anybody has any questions. Actually, that's all I have on the slide. I do want to talk about a couple other things that was mentioned, and I'm going to stop sharing this. In Norm's presentation, and we talked about the 7007s. Again, division commanders, thank you for those of you who have sent those to me. I know they are preliminary, although 2 divisions have submitted their 7007s. They will be reviewed, and if there are people in staff spots where they need to be qualified, I'll be checking. And if they aren't, I'll let you know. Charlie, do you know when those are due to DIROCS, the 7007s? Is it middle of December?
Yeah, I spoke to Leslie about it this morning. Right now she's concentrating on all the dues. That's the main priority right now. Once we get the dues all sorted out, she's going to be looking at the 7007. So, but certainly within the next 10 days, once we start getting closer to Christmas, it's going to be hard getting anything. So I would say within the next 10 days, at the latest, have your 707s in.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, sir.
I've got 2 other things to share when you get done.
Okay, I'll be as quick as I can, Norm. Okay. We talked about division standing rules. I want to share my screen here. Hang on a second. Okay. For those of you who have sent me some chats here, I will get to those. My apologies, folks. Wrong one. Try it one more time. Oh, man. I really need to learn how to do this better. Well, let me. Okay, I got it. I thought I had it.
What do you want to show? Just the standing rules?
Yeah, I have the standing rules.
Then close your PowerPoint out.
Yeah, that's what I keep trying to do.
All right,
and it's
now bring in the PDF.
okay. There's my PDF. Now I can share it. There it is. Okay. So this is the standing rules of your the division. As you can see, this is pretty much a boilerplate. You put in your division, your district, same thing here, this information division, district, region. There's not a lot that you can change on here, but there's a lot of information that's very important. Okay, and I'm going to go to one that is near and dear to my heart. election of officers. Okay, know this section, guys. We do this every year. So know how this works. Know how you're going to have your folks handle it. And you need to build your calendar on this backwards. Start from the date you want to have your election and then build it backwards based on the guidelines in the standing rules. So, and I know this year, the guidelines had to be changed temporarily. But hopefully next year we'll be back using these the way they're written. Another area that can be set up by the division is finances, and pretty much put what your dues are here. Put some other division information there. And let you put in how much the division commander or vice division commander, if the division commander is unavailable, can spend in one calendar month and direct the finance officer to pay. This means your board doesn't have to vote on it. My recommendation to you is have them vote on all or as many expenditures as you can get in front of them. And that is pretty much about it. There's a signature page. There are some signatures that need to be had here. You all need to look at your current copy of your division standing rules. My guess is they haven't been reviewed and signed since 2012. So take a look at that. Right now, because I was asked this question and I want to get it taken care of before I forget. Can I see a show of hands of anybody who has taken either Ox Lambs and Amlock or both? You getting those numbers there, Ann?
I wonder, what could I call the roll and just say Lambs, Amlock or not? Can I take 3 minutes to do this, please?
You okay with that, Norm? Can we give her 3 minutes?
Sure, let's make it even 4. What the heck?
Okay, you can start.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna start.
I don't know.
Well, you're first, Commodore. Did you take Lambs or Amlock?
I took them both.
Mr. Geiger?
I took Lambs.
Thank you. Mr. Ebel? I know you took Lambs. Did you take Amlock?
I did take Amlock.
Mr. Bundick? Lambs?
Both.
Amlock. Okay, Mr. Flamingo? Lambs? How about Amlock? Mr. Flamingo?
Both.
Okay. Sal Gonzalez, Lambs and or Amlock?
No, not taken.
No and no. Okay, well, we'll get you squared up. Dave Brown?
Neither.
Okay, let's see, we do have some candidates. Dave Walker, Lambs or Amlock? Mr. Walker?
Neither.
Thank you. Eddie, you took Lambs, probably not Amlock. Is that correct, Eddie Borgwart? Yes, Lambs, no Amlock. Eddie?
Yes, ma'am.
Gary, did you take Lambs and or Amlock? Gary?
I took them both. Thank you.
Okay. iPhone's gone, so I don't have to ask them. Jim Peterson, did you take Amlock or Lambs?
Both, Ann.
Thank you. Mr. Lupati, Amlock or Lambs?
Neither.
Thank you. Matt Smith?
I have had Amlock, but I have not had Lambs.
Okay, you took them backwards, so let's get you into Lambs as soon as we can. I know Boz has done it along with me. Mike Hogan?
Lambs only.
Thank you. Robert, I know you need to do Lambs. Have you done Amlock?
Neither.
Robert?
Yeah, neither.
Okay. The other Robert, have you taken Lambs or Amlock? Lily? It says Robert Lilly. Is that all one name?
Robert Hamming. That's Robert
That's
Hamming.
not. I can't see your face, Bob. Otherwise, I would have known. This is another thing. So, okay, Robert, did you take lambs?
You're muted.
Well, I'm going to ask Rod Donahoe. Did you take lambs or Amlock?
You're muted too,
Donahoe?
Rod.
Sorry,
Rod?
lambs, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Hamming, I would like to speak about lighting. I can't see your face, or I'd have known who you are. Everybody, Dave Brown and Mr. Hamming, Mr. Harshfield, you got a lot of light in your background. Anyway, now I know. Mr. Hamming, did you take LAMS, Leadership and Management?
Robert, we can't hear you.
I'll call him on his phone.
Shake your head, yes or no.
Lambs?
Did you take your lambs?
Yes. Lambs, yes. Amlock, no. I got that. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see what we can do about getting this. Oh,
And you forgot
yes.
Rudy Cortez.
Rudy?
Land,
yes.
yes. Lock, no.
Got it. I remember Rudy. Is it did I get everybody else?
Maurice Lambs.
Well, Maurice, Maurice, I got you down. But you haven't done Amlock yet, Maurice. Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll give you guys first pick when we get this going. And Boz and I are going to work on both these classes together. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Are there any other questions regarding what I've talked about? All right, Norm.
Okay, two things have come up recently. Let me find, well, this is the first one. Let me do this one first. This is an urgent request from Rear Admiral Dana Thomas. And this is regarding the Coast Guard Auxiliary Health Program, OXMED. Boz is getting involved in this. He's got some leads to pass along to the people. They were looking for doctors, the 5 different types of doctors, and 1 dentist, making up the 5. They have now gone way past that, but they have an urgent need. And this is an email from the passed down from the DSO HR down through us from Rear Admiral. They need pharmacists because they need pharmacists to join the auxiliary to be able to give the COVID shots to the Gold Side members. This is an urgent request. What you need to do, number 1, if you can, is poll your members. Is anybody a pharmacist? Find that out. If you do have anybody, send me their names. Do any of them know pharmacists who'd be interested in this program? This is something that the Coast Guard is in desperate need for. And I will forward this email on to everybody that's on this call. Well, actually, I'll send it to the DCAPs and they can send it down to everybody. And then the division commanders should send this down to the flotilla level. But if you would have them call me, that would be great. Okay, that's number 1. Hold on. And number 2, this is something. Yeah.
You mentioned specifically pharmacists. How about a registered nurse?
They're going to do nurses afterwards. The absolute push is for pharmacists. Why? They said they wouldn't do nurses for a while. Keep that person in mind. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. This is another thing that just came out a little while ago. Most of you may not know about it. But when your Secretary of Record does, you remember, they're supposed to put their minutes online. Now, the Commodore has set up this, Commodore Harshfield, set up a new program where you would go to the D11S website and they can upload, and this is how you get there. You click on e-forms. This is what the Secretary of Record does. Click on e-forms. There's a drop down that says Secretary Report. You see the blue here?
No, you didn't share your screen.
Thanks.
Looks shared to me.
Yeah, I've got it.
Doug?
Oh, it just says that I'm viewing it.
I see it too.
Okay, so is there anybody who doesn't besides the Commodore? Okay, anyways, you see where it's in blue here, where it says Secretary of Record? If you click on that, it opens up a form. And all they have to do is put in their member number, information, and upload the approved minutes. Only approved minutes are uploaded. It is so simple. The past program we had was a pain to get stuff in there. We need to have your secretary, both your SOs, your division meetings, as well as flotilla meetings sent up and put on the website. And again, nothing but approved minutes. There used to be a time where people would put their minutes up there, but they weren't approved. And then they'd send them up again. This is only approved. And what I'll do is I'll pass this form, this PDF down to the division command, the DCAPs, and they'll send it down through. But we want that to start now. Any questions on either one of the two?
Yeah, Norm, is there a specific format that's required for the meeting minutes regarding the staff officer reports?
Well, there's two, and you know what? I'll get back to you on that. I'm going to ask Patrick Porter which form they want to use, because there's been two floating around. One is like a mini summary, and one allows to put more information. That's not mentioned in here, so let me find out if they want which one is going to be the standard.
Thank you.
Okay, good question though, Rudy. Thanks. Okay, anything else? That's it.
I just have a comment to follow up on Norm. Many of us wear a lot of different hats, several offices on flotilla level, division level, district level. And we've already talked about when you send emails, be sure to use the appropriate signature. So why is Norm getting involved with looking for pharmacists? It's because the person he's in communication with is in health services at the national level. Health services is part of HR, and Norm will be our DSO HR next year. That is the reason this is being routed through Norm. Okay.
Okay. Norm, you have anything else you want to add?
No, just glad everybody was here, can learn something. That's great.
Okay, the last thing that I want to ask is how many division commanders have or have brought their division goals with them? See, just raise your hand. Okay. Okay, for those of you who have your division goals, or at least an idea of what your division goals are going to be, I'm going to give you about a minute to go ahead and just tell us what they are. This is not a test. Nobody's going to, there's no really wrong answers here, but this is meant to allow the other divisions just to see what else is going on. Because honestly, the only time you guys ever get together is what, 4 times a year, Commodore?
Oh.
So let's start with Division 1. Gary, you talk about your plan?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So what I've done with the help of my division vice is we put together basically, we've got 6 different item areas we'd like to work on. First of all is promoting communications. And this is not only within our division, but within the district. So that's something we feel extremely important. Our second focus is going to be retention. Primary objectives are going to be to have each flotilla commander report their efforts and report and on their mentorship new and existing members. The third item is increasing membership. We've been very successful here within Division 1 in robo-leads. We've done a really good job, and particularly we've got a few people that have just chased down just about everything that they can find, and it's been very successful. But now we're going to start turning just from the robo-leads to like other organizations, veteran and other outreach organizations. Training is a big part, something we can do now. We've got to keep our members active. And again, what we're going to do is try to within the district is to basically coordinate things with everybody. Our big goal is going to be in the OXOP is to basically get at least 10 to 15% increase in that this year. I think it's easy now with the plans online that you can do it. Our next area is succession plans. We feel that we need to continue to have succession plans both in the division. Rod and I worked on it this last year and the year before, but also within the flotillas. That's something we see that seems like every year we have one or two flotillas that struggle because they don't have a succession plan and they don't work on it on an ongoing basis. And then lastly, we're talking about getting our VE and PV up by January to make sure that every flotilla is ready to perform within the existing guidelines. So that's kind of our draft at the moment, and we'll certainly add to it.
Thank you, Gary. Sounds like you guys are going in the right direction. Let's see. Jim, I know Alex isn't here tonight. Do you have anything that you want to talk about, can talk about tonight about your Division 4 plan for next year?
Thank you. Alex and I haven't had a chance to talk about the goals, although we have talked about one aspect, and that is that we don't know how long we're going to be in this shutdown situation. So what Alex wanted to do, and I concur with this, is that we wanted to put together a group of some of our most active, most successful instructors who are certified in operations and put together an online ability to start getting people refreshed or renewed in operations. So that's one of our major goals.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jim. David Brown, what about Division 5?
Okay, we're primarily concerned, of course, with membership retention, how to keep them engaged and interested in remaining in the auxiliary, because that's one of the things that's come up in flotilla meetings and division meetings is, we're not getting them doing anything and they're joining the auxiliary to do stuff. So we looked at the national goals and want to come up with a master list of members and what kind of things they're interested in participating in. Particularly for the interpreters, which kind of surprised me. We've got a lot of people that with different language skills within the flotillas. Also, any needs for watchstanders or sector at base, getting people qualified through the TCO. And then auxiliary food services, because I know they're always looking for people in that area there. And, of course, that's a risk that presents a risk and everything like that. So we'll be trying to do that to get people lined up and start getting them qualified. It looks to me like going through the qualifications for each of those skills, that there's a lot of things they can do online to get into those qualification areas. And then hopefully by the time things start opening up, they'll be prepared for that. Financial, we're also looking at members who may be experiencing financial hardships and aren't able to pay their dues. What can we do to help them? And then also looking at ramping up COVID compliant VE operations. We've got quite a few VEs in the division. We also have people who are waiting to come on board as trainees. So what can we do to go get them started? And then I also want to ramp up on PE as well, because that's something we can do to fulfill our boating safety mission. Teaching non-test or certification classes starting off. We've been pretty successful with Suddenly in Command. There's also a lot of interest in things like GPS for mariners and so on. And then I'm still looking into the rollout they did down with the auxiliary in Florida for the About Boating Safely class online. That's another way of drawing people into the auxiliary. So that's our rough draft so far.
Hey, sounds good, David. Thank you. Let's see. Rudy, Division 7.
Yes, Rick. This is putting together in conjunction with my Media Pass division commander. So we're going to standardize the Zoom meetings for all official Division 7 meetings. Due to the COVID, you know, it's going to be challenging, but we got to make an effort to really put forth recognition for the members, evaluating and giving recognition accordingly. Establishing and maintaining those COVID bubbles. And we want to apply those COVID bubbles to U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary COVID guidelines, because we actually do a lot of things operationally in support of Station Channel Islands and Air Station Point Mugu. We really want to expand on encouragement of online training. And this is just not for individual member training to pursue their OXOP and PQS trainings, but also to try to open up to make greater public awareness by use of online training. And with that, you know, the focus on our most valuable asset, our members, for recruitment, retention, and mentoring. That's the summary of what our goals are for 2021. Thank you, Rick.
Okay. Thank you, Rudy. Mr. Walker.
All right. I don't have anything. I just sketched a few things down, but we've discussed this in flotilla or in division meetings before. Our main goals are going to be to recruit, train, and retain membership. That's been the biggest problem I think I can see in our flotilla, or in our division rather. Other than, of course, the ops program, where we're aging out of that. Most of our toxins have aged out and can't get waivers now. So, we need young blood in there. So we're going to work on that.
Okay. Thank you. Matt Smith, Division 10.
Yes, there's really only one thing that the Division 10 members are interested in, and that's getting back on the water. And that's, honest to God, 100% all they care about, nothing else. They want to get on the water. And then with particular flotillas, I've been talking to them about just focusing on, like, in one flotilla's case, even on just a single core program, and then other flotillas trying to focus on just 2 or 3 core programs, because I think what we've got is people are just spread too thin, and they feel kind of taxed out. So yeah, I'm just gonna, just like any decent basketball coach, I'm gonna tell my folks to focus on fundamentals, and because fundamentals wins games. That's
okay.
it.
Is that it, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, the only thing my members care about is getting back on the water, and they're incredibly bitter that Arizona's getting treated like California, because Governor Newsom is much different than our governor, and my members are enraged, to tell the truth.
And we all understand that, but there's, unfortunately, the Coast Guard is driving what we're able to do here. So I don't think there's going to be a lot more we can do about that, but I do understand that they want to get back out on the water. We want them to get back out on the water too. So thank you, Matt. And then Maurice, Division 12. You're muted, Maurice.
Okay, yeah, due to COVID-19, we're restricted from too much. We can't do too much, but this is my plans as things get lifted. Promote RBS participation within the division, also Santa Monica Bay Area, beach cities, and Marina Del Rey area. 50 VEs a month, 20 PVs a month. And while they're not doing any operational programs to get training, and more training to be ready, so when things do come online, public education classes held on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, conduct patrol operations on a weekly basis, recruiting projects to bring people into the Coast Guard Auxiliary or active duty Coast Guard, to have qualified personnel augment the active duty Coast Guard, have a division contingency emergency plan in place, ongoing mentorship for new leaders, to bring new leaders up, to motivate leaders to become force multipliers within a division.
Okay, thank you, Maurice. That's all the divisions we have to report on that. Thank you all for your talking about your goals. I have nothing else, although I know Commodore Harshfield had something that he wanted to say. Commodore?
Couple items. One, I'm going to share my screen here. This weekend we did Aux Data. We need to encourage our members to start using Aux Data. It's there, it's simple, it's way advanced for a lot of people, but they gotta start doing it. We recorded the meeting this weekend, and I went and broke it down under the Aux Data tab. There's 4 different sections. There's the full 4-hour length one if you really want to sit and watch that, but I broke it down, the general overview, member input and unit objects, mission codes, and activities. We have another 4-hour class coming up next Saturday. I'm going to record it and we'll break it down. It's on the district website. Get it down to the members that, you know, we got to start pushing people doing it. Your poor IS people are going to get slammed when they announce end of year hours and nobody's, you know, inputting their own data. It's a 2-3 day learning curve. And then after that, it's literally, you can do it on your cell phone. The other thing I wanted to bring up, everybody was talking about doing online meetings. If you go to the public education doctorate, they have a lot of great classes and templates on doing online training in that. Well worth everybody, you know, going and checking it out. The resources are there, use them. The other thing is phase 2. There's no reason people cannot be putting bubbles together and getting ready to get on the water. You are not restricted to get out on the water. You just have to follow the procedure. And with the sector commander's approval, they will approve orders to go out on the water. So it's on the district website under phase 2, all of the things that you need to do. Form your bubbles, get out on the water, get training, get the rust off. Right now, with California being more or less locked down again, it's up to Captain Orr. Arizona, that's Captain, I'm gonna mess this up, Benelli. Is that right, Mike? Is it Benelli or Bezella? Bezella went up to Captain, okay, Benella. Anyway, it's up to him for Sector San Diego. So there's no excuse that people can't start doing the paperwork, get the stuff going, get all the requirements going. That's all I have. This will probably be my last electronic meeting since we're running into holiday time. And I got 22 more days until I'm nobody. But for right now, I want to thank everybody for doing what we've done for the last 2 years. It wasn't in the fine print when I took this job. So otherwise I would have probably passed, but we will get through this. There is light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel keeps moving on us on a daily basis. So stay strong, keep learning. And thank you very much. And with that,
Thank you,
Rick,
Commodore.
I will get rid of my screen. And
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commodore.
there you go.
Appreciate your comments. Charlie, any last words here, sir?
No, nothing more from me, Rick. Thank you very much.
Okay, Norm?
Nope, done.
Okay, then I would like to thank everybody who attended tonight. Let your folks know, if you know somebody who did not attend, that this will get put up onto YouTube. Commodore Harshfield will send the link to me, and I'll be happy to send it out, forward it on to anybody who needs it. Lastly, stay safe. For those of us who are in California, it sucks to be us right now because we're getting the clamps put down on us again by the governor, but phase 2 is still in effect until we're told it's not. So have a great holiday season. Stay safe, enjoy your families when you can, and we'll see some of you, I'm sure we'll see most of you at DELA number 5, and I'm sure I'll be talking to some of you between now and then. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.